get home and kind of overwhelmed, and Sky News is on. So I'm watching myself on TV, listening to this music, like welling up. Tried to sleep, just completely jacked up on adrenaline. And then I went through a real tough time.
Welcome back to Mulligan Brothers. Today's video, as always, was sponsored by Huel. I'm drinking Huel Black Edition, which has 26 vitamins and minerals, 35 grams of protein and slow release carbs to make sure that I can stay satiated and proteined up whilst I make these documentaries. If you want to find out more about these, go to the link in the description. I'll talk about them a little bit later on in the video. I don't want to dive back into what happened. I think you've had so many questions about it. But I am curious, there's not many people have asked you after the fact, what was the moments afterwards? You get back into your car, you drive home that night.
Yeah, I got back home and it kind of, well, it wasn't that night, it was the next afternoon. So it was it's the next day, it's the 16th, the afternoon. And I get home and kind of overwhelmed and have a shower, make a cup of tea, and I'm like, Sky News is on, and it's on mute, and I put a random playlist on. NXS comes on, band NXS, and the song Searching, that I kind of hadn't heard before, but it's just a surreal, I call it a movie moment, because I'm watching me on TV, and then I've got NXS playing the song Searching. So I'm watching myself on TV, listening to this music, and we're welling up. Tried to sleep, just completely jacked up on adrenaline. Then phone starts and then I looked at my phone an hour later, and it's got something like 140 messages or something like that, or I don't know, it's lots, and it was all just well done, mate, and things like that. So, and then had my hearing took a bashing. Got some stuff done back in UK, and then carried on doing my thing, so to speak. And then I went through a real tough time, and within myself, I was in essence, there's people who could say they were supporting me, and they were supporting me, but I was on my own. That's the best way, and I highlight this in the video that I did just come back. And I've said it to everyone, is people say you're not alone, and you're not alone in your suffering. You might have people who love and support you around you, or colleagues who work with you and who want to support you around you, but you are alone in that struggle. You are alone, and I know, it's not my theory. I know this. You are alone, and it's down to you to get better. Now you can get better, and how you get better, that's what you got to do, is do what works for you. If therapy and talking to the support unit around you get you better, then you do that. If doing physical fitness or shooting or riding your motorbike faster than what you should do is better for you, then do it. If having a couple of beers with your friends lines you up and makes you better, then do it. You just do what you got to do. And what happened, there's one point, there's a friend of mine, he was a friend of mine and is a friend of mine, and there's no criticism to this guy whatsoever, but it's an interesting, I hope it's a short little story that hopefully people can learn something from. And I didn't really bring it up, and I should have really while I was still serving. Phones me up a few months after the incident, and he's like, "Hey, Christian, I've known you for nearly 20 years. I know that you're not bothered about this, blah, 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 but we've got to do our checks and balances. We've got to make sure that you're all right. But I know that you're tough, you're a tough cookie. But are you all right?" Inside I was screaming to say, "No, I'm not all right. I'm hurting here. I'm not all right." But it's that thing. I was like, "Yeah, mate, I'm all cool. No issues." But inside it was screaming, going, "I'm not all right. I need help, and I need it now." But I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm fine." And I think the takeaway from that story would be, and it's not his fault, but for me, if I was to do that again, and maybe I did bring it up, I can't remember if I did, but if he saw me face to face, whether even if it was a video call, I think there and he would have said, "You're not all right. You're coming home right now," or "I'm coming out to you," or whatever. but I was just like, yeah, I'm fine. But inside I was screaming and going, I wanted to say, I'm not all right. So, you know, I did some things to try and help get me through that. And again, I was conscious that I wasn't all right. And at least I had the sense to not drink heavy and not do bits and pieces. And
you're still in Kenya at that time
as I was living there. So, but yeah, and I got through it. But again, it's part of that is the fact it was like I say about someone maybe should have saw me face to face. The criticism on me for being a coward, I should have said, oh no, I had the balls to say, do you know what, I'm not all right. But I was just like, yeah, I'm cool. And that's the thing, it's such a common story. We hear people killing themselves and people going, you all right? And they're like, yeah, I'm fine.
Did you get to a dark place like that for yourself?
No, I never, no. I was just like, but it's just another telltale sign of when people are struggling. Some people might be on the verge of killing themselves. People like me could have just been struggling, just like, I'm not all right. But it's that's when you say is when you say, how are you doing? You're like, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine.
You know, you talk about this divine intervention and this chosen purpose, you know, maybe by somebody else, but to be there at that exact moment, and you'd completed this task, and then you'd succeeded in your purpose in a way. And people talk about when they lose their purpose or they move past their purpose, this kind of like a moment of feeling lost almost.
That came, but not then. That came years later. That came in in the lockdown when we had that 2 weeks to flatten the curve. That's when that came.
Wow.
Was maybe that's all I was put on this earth for, and what am I going to do now? It's not what am I going to do. It's just like this thing about going, is that it? And it was more again navel gazing. You know, when you think no one loves me, I'm this odd shaped. Someone made me as this tool to do one particular job, but once that job's done, the tool's useless. That's kind of how I was thinking about it, and it's very short-sighted, and because it's like some people have said to me is, that thing you were training all your life to do that thing in Kenya, but that thing in Kenya was maybe the thing that needed to happen for you to do something that you haven't done yet.
Today's episode, as always, was powered by Huel. This stuff has been absolutely crucial to my training, and the world record I just broke, the world's heaviest marathon, where I carried 220 pounds for 28 miles. Yes, I achieved it, guys. It is done. This is what I was drinking. Huel Black Edition. It has 35 grams of protein, 26 vitamins and minerals and slow release carbs, and it's what I use in my training all the time. But don't just take my word for it. People like the hardest geezer ran across Africa drinking this stuff. It's absolutely amazing. And if you want to get exclusive offers and deals, go to the link in the description and you can find out more about their other products like their daily greens and their meals, which I eat every single lunchtime. Thank you to Huel for sponsoring the video, and let's dive back in to the episode. I am curious though, 700's a huge number. Like, did you ever think
that's the estimated number?
Hundreds of lives though, that,
It's I don't really give that much thought. I do give some thought, like my dear friend Maylee Chapin, who's the author of Terrorist Attack Girl, and I love her and her husband, and she's now, she did that. She came out of there a broken woman and repaired herself, and not only did she repair herself, now she's helping other people. She developed software and an app to help people with PTSD, and she's a remarkable human being, and she goes on to live her life, and that's the kind of thing. It's when you actually meet people who you save, and then it's like put it into context. That's when it means so much.
Because there's thousands of people affected by that. There's the children, there's the husbands, the wives, the families. Like, it's a massive.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop at me. It's all the people who help people every day. The other people who helped that day, because it wasn't just me. I was the first there to respond, and my actions were significant, but there was other people helped, and did bits and pieces, and then up until a certain point, and then it was just me with the Kenyans, and then but everyone who every day, the emergency services, the first responders, the everyday people who step up and help people. That's what it's all about. It's like save one life and you save the world. There was a terrorist incident in 2019. 5 terrorists attacked a hotel complex. I turned up, thought people were dealing with things, could hear gunfire explosions, and then I said, Zach, police in there, special forces. No one's here yet, no one's in there. And there were gunfire explosions, and I was like, okay, I'm going in.